Hello, and welcome to Open Minded. I'm Pete here with Zach,
Hello.
and today we're going to ask the question: should you watch Thor Ragnarok?
They're bringing drugs. They're bringing crime.
Like the interesting thing is the houses you see around you are all solar houses.
21st Century Fox has been holding talks to sell most of the company to Walt Disney.
So I saw this movie in theaters, and then when and I absolutely fell in love with it. First off the bat, my favorite Marvel movie up to this point has been Guardians of the Galaxy. But after I saw Thor Ragnarok, that completely changed because that is now my new favorite Marvel movie. I since then have bought it and watched the movie, I want to say 6 times, and I still can't get enough of it.
Did you watch it before I did?
I think so. I mean, I don't know. I saw
Well,
it
if
in
you
theaters.
saw it in theater, yeah, then I didn't see it in theaters.
Yeah.
So
I saw it in theaters, and the reason I saw it in theaters is because when they announced that they were making the film, and they announced who the director was going to be, Taika Waititi, I got really, really excited because he's one of my favorite directors. This was his 5th movie, I think. He's done only independent films in the past, films like Boy, What We Do in the Shadows, and
I still need to see that.
so good, such a good movie. And then he also did Hunt for the Wilder People, which I'm telling you, he's one of the best directors out there today because not only is he a comedic director, but he also, all of his films have like a really heartfelt like undertone. And one of the undertones that he always, like one of the themes that he always uses is father-son relationships. Father type figures, and that really like resonates in Thor Ragnarok as well as in almost all of his other films.
Yeah, his dad was a big part. Gave him, well, maybe not spoiler, the movie.
Yeah, we're gonna go over just some of the key points of why we like the movie at first, and then we'll give you your official spoiler warning, and then we're gonna go into like what we really loved about the film, like plot points and stuff. So, I don't know. Overall, I really love this movie. My favorite Marvel movie.
I'm with you on that. This is definitely my favorite Marvel movie. I'm not a big fan of like the Marvel franchise, but like I mean, it's not like I don't watch the movies a million times like I do. I'm just a bigger fan of the DC one. I think it's more of like adult.
But the DC films, the quality of their films are just so terrible. Like it's just all action and all spectacle and no testicle.
But it's a like a superhero movie. That's what you want. You want action. It's crazy, and especially when Zack Snyder's doing it, action's awesome when Zack Snyder does it.
I read that the original Zack Snyder version of Justice League was unwatchable because it was so bad.
Yeah, but I've heard people say that about other things, and then I watch his idea of it, and it's like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. Like Alejandro's Dune. They were like, we could never make this movie. Ever. Nobody would ever want to watch it. And then we're watching a documentary about him wanting to make this movie, and we're like, this is the best movie ever. What the fuck?
Well, I definitely, the best thing about film is subjective. So everybody's going to have a different opinion about specific films and specific art forms and what they, what it means to them. I was a film major in college, so the first thing that I look at is story, and the first thing I look at is character development, character relationships. Why do I care about these characters? That's the main difference between the DC universe and the Marvel universe to me is the Marvel universe, I care more about the characters. They seem more realistic to me.
But that's because you had like 3 movies for each one to care about. You had time to care about them. DC, they're just starting to do it now, unless you watched like really, really shitty fucking TV shows on like fucking the CWB or whatever it's fucking called.
Yeah, CW. It's
But
so,
yeah,
so bad.
you don't have like 30 movies to give you a chance to care about these characters. You're immersed in the world automatically now. But Thor Ragnarok was so much more funny and awesomely funny than I thought it was going to be. You know, like the comedy was awesome, and the action comedy. There was like action comedy, and it was awesome.
I think that movie takes the best of pretty much every single superhero movie leading up to this point. It's got amazing spectacle, amazing the graphics like integrated into the film so well to the point where I'm one of those people who watch films and I point out that's CGI, that's real, that's CGI, that's a prop. Half the time, I mean, there are some things that I definitely could tell, like certain parts where Thor has his hammer where it was obviously CGI, and certain weapons like Scourge's axe was CGI and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But for the most part, it integrated very well with each other. So the spectacle was amazing. The action scenes and the fighting scenes were so well choreographed and so well put together. And the comedy was on point. None of it seemed forced. None of it seemed like it was like... It didn't seem like, a bunch of fart jokes and butt jokes like a lot of comedies do nowadays. It was smart comedy, and the comedy and integrated into the story well. And it really, when it was a serious part, it was serious. When it was a funny part, it was funny, and it didn't take me out of caring for the characters with the comedy. It actually enhanced it, to me at least.
Yeah, like the comedy was awesome. The action was awesome. I liked the storyline. The cinematography was great. The CGI was great.
Yeah. And
I like the entire cast too. That's like not very often, where you there's always at least somebody you're like, why is he in this movie or why is she in this movie? Like I didn't mind the entire cast. The cast was awesome.
Yeah. The cast was
Jeff Goldblum was so funny. Oh my god.
He's amazing. I think he was one of the best characters, but I also really liked Scourge, who's played by Carl Urban, because that guy is such a versatile actor, and you wouldn't even
Highlander?
Is he from Highlander?
Which one was Scourge?
Scourge is the bald guy who's like, I'm just a janitor.
What was the name of the fire guy? It was like Scourge, I think, or Scorn.
Serta.
Oh yeah, okay. That's a little. I guess
Scourge was Carl Urban. He actually shaved his head for the film, and he, oh my god, in the very beginning when he's talking about, behold, my stuff, dude. I'm I knew
he was from Judge Dredd.
Yeah, he was Dredd.
Just Dredd. Yeah. Yeah,
he's a versatile actor. He's also plays Bones in the new Star Trek movies, and he can do so much because he's usually like he can do a serious role and a comedic role.
Did he crazy work out for that? Because like you think about him in as Bones in Star Trek, and he's like sort of skinny-ish.
Yeah, he's just an average sized person. I think a lot of it.
Then he was like huge in
Thor.
Thor, yeah.
I don't know, maybe. I'm sure that everybody had to be on their A game because they're going up against Chris Hemsworth, who is freaking. Yeah. Have you seen his workout regimen for Thor? It's insane. It's online. It's him just going ham at the gym with his personal trainer, like yelling in his face. It's great. But
I bet you Superman and what's his name? Aquaman probably were pretty more badass though.
Aquaman, the guy who plays Aquaman, I know him as Khal Drogo. I don't know his real name. He's a badass actor, but anyway, one of the things that I loved so much about Thor is it really set a new tone for the Marvel films, and it threw away a lot of the foundation that the Marvel films were like really using up until this point, and it kind of explored new things, like the way magic is being used and the way that they're referring to themselves as gods, whereas in Thor 1 and Thor 2 they specifically say we're not gods, we're just like humans. We live, we die, we are born, we live, and we die. And they, like, in Thor the Dark World, the second one, Odin actually says that we're not gods, we're just like humans. We are born, we live, and we die. And yet in this one, they walk around saying, I'm the god of thunder, and I'm the god of mischief, and I'm the goddess of death. And so it kind of like, and then also just the amount of the vibrance of the film, the colors that they use, the set pieces that they built, what?
Yeah, it, like, just the garbage city looked so awesome. The colors and everything.
Sakaar. Welcome to Sakaar.
Sakaar was awesome. That was such an awesome planet.
I don't think, and in most movies, I have issues with certain things. In this movie, I think that there isn't one thing that I would change about this movie.
Which is rare.
It's very rare.
We've said that like maybe once or twice about movies, but that's just because they were so awesome we wanted to talk about them. Mm-hmm. But it is a rare thing, to not want to change a single thing in a movie. Like, if I'm thinking, like, what would I change? I'd have to watch it again for, like, the 10th time and, like, make a list. Probably be, like, one thing.
For me,
I'd have to, like, study it or actually, like, try and find something to have a problem with, It's not just, like, openly there.
For me, I think one of the main reasons why I love this film so much is because it was directed by Taika Waititi, and I would definitely...
Well, I think he just made it good.
Yeah, it wasn't written by him.
If somebody else did it... Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If somebody else did it, it probably wouldn't have been,
as good.
As good. Yeah.
He's got such a vision, and if anybody else has not seen any of his other films, I highly suggest that you watch all of his films, because they're all equally as amazing as Thor Ragnarok. And I had really high expectations for this film, because it was Taika Waititi, and to be honest, I wasn't disappointed. A lot of the times, if my expectations are too high, I get disappointed because, just like everybody else, they think, oh, it's the new Star Wars, it's going to be amazing, and then it's really not as good as everyone thought it was. For me, it exceeded my high expectations, and Taika has a big part to do with that, because he's just such a creative person, and he just knows how to direct film. It's like something that I guess comes just so naturally to him. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Can we do spoilers now? I want to talk about certain parts that were...
Okay, this is officially your spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about plot points of the film from here on out. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it now, and if you have, stick around.
All right. One of my favorite parts that I remember distinctly was when he goes to throw the ball and it hits him, but like he just like he breaks the glass and everything and goes down, but like,
because that's
like,
what
the
heroes
music's
do.
playing, the the music, it's so sick. He's sliding down, he fucking crashes, he's escaping, he's doing the whole fucking thing, and then he just was like casually, like running, jogging down the garbage city or whatever, and it's like hilarious. Like, it's so cool, but it's like a joke. Like, the whole scene, like, he crashes through the glass, he fucking slides down, and then he just like runs away.
Like, all nonchalant.
Yeah, like the entire, like, that ball scene was kind of like, haha, like, you laugh at it, but then like you're expecting, like, I don't know, like a breakout scene, and he just slides down and then just casually runs away, and it pans out. And
yeah, nobody tries
like,
to stop him
happened,
or anything.
I laughed out loud. I was like, that's fucking hilarious. He's just like running away, like.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's I feel like this movie definitely brought some of the more vibrant and comedic tones from the comic books back into the MCU universe. And that's one of the things, like, not everything has to be taken so seriously. in a superhero movie, because if you read superhero comics, especially Marvel comics, they're very bright, and a lot of the times they're very comedic. And that I love that scene too. He's just running through the town. I think one of my favorite scenes is the opening scene where he's fighting Serta and all of the all of those fire demons and stuff to the Immigrant Song, which is amazing. Yeah. And then when he gets transported back, and because the dragon is chasing him, and he transports him back, and then Thor comes through, and all of a sudden they see the dragon's head get severed from the dragon's body, and it slides in, and everybody's mouth is open, and all the brains go into their mouth, and then the dragon just slides up, hits the stairs, and its eye just like rolls from the back of its head and just like looks at those two girls that are sitting there. And they scream and run away. Really, every scene with Karl Urban, it just makes me laugh so much. Because after that happens, he goes, "Oh, nice for you to drop in. Thanks for scaring off my company and splattering my workplace full of brains."
I liked how he dropped the hammer too in his mouth.
Yeah,
and the thing couldn't move because it's his hammer and shit.
Yeah, only
you think if he had the hammer, because I feel like they broke the hammer on purpose, because he can't have the hammer when he's fighting Thanos. That's his name, right?
Thanos, yeah. Because all of this is leading up to... I
always confuse Thanos and Apocalypse.
Oh, yeah. Apocalypse is from X-Men. Yeah, all this is leading up...
What's his name? Whatever.
All this is leading up to, Infinity War. And so... Another scene that I really liked was the scene with Doctor Strange, which I really liked the way they composed that, but it also kind of takes away from the whole. So, and this is what I was saying earlier, is that they're changing some of the things in the MCU, they're changing it because prior to this movie, they explained science and magic as being one and the same. Like in Doctor Strange, every single thing that is magical, it is magic, but it's implemented by studying and you doing their certain hand signals to make this magic happen. But it's the way they explain it is really, it's science. It's just a different type of science than the science that
they're going with the Skyrim way, there was the magic and everything in Skyrim or that kind of world, but then you also had the stories and ancient lore about the dwarves and shit that basically did the exact same stuff, but they didn't have any magic powers, but they did it with science and technology, but they don't exist anymore. You just hear about legends and tales and stuff about them. But that's basically what they're doing. They're making it so you have magic. Some people can naturally, because of whatever alien race they are, naturally have this magic power ability, but this other alien race has the smarts to make things that do that.
They don't have the ability to conjure magic, but they use their technology to do basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Now, in some of the previous Thor movies, it's in the first Thor movie specifically, Thor is talking to Jane, who's played by Natalie Portman, and he says, You call it science, we call it magic, but it's one and the same. And I think the Marvel Universe has definitely, up to this point, tried to explain magic as if it were something logical. Not this fantastical thing. It's magic, but the reason it seems like magic is because the technology that they use is so much more advanced than humans' technology that to us it seems like magic. Whereas in this new film, they kind of throw that out the window because they do whatever they want to. They don't explain how does Thor communicate back
how did that
home?
Planet even exist? It was an island. How does that work? And where's the water runs off, but
where's it going?
Where is it going? What? How is it running off?
Yeah.
That doesn't. How do you run off of
flat Earth.
A planetary item, object? It just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, it sort of put in. I guess I see what you're saying. To put in actual real magic back into the thing,
which I think
Like
can be cool.
Serta, you were saying his name is.
Yeah.
Like he's a fire thing,
He's
like
like a
at
fire
the end,
demon,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, like how?
I think one of my favorite scenes was the fight between Thor and Hulk.
Well, yeah, obviously
And
that
that
scene
was
is
like-
so sick.
yeah,
it's
that
so awesome.
That was like, the big selling point of the film. They introduce Hulk in the trailer. They introduce him, and Thor goes, "Yes, we're friends. We know each other from work."
Yeah.
First of all, great line. And second of all, just the way that the scene, it didn't take itself too seriously. Like some of the fight scenes in other superhero movies are like so taken so seriously. And this scene, though they were fighting and everybody who's ever fought Hulk has died, Thor and Hulk are just hitting it back and forth and back and forth. And they get hurt, I guess, but none of them are, it's not like any type of injury that is really going to affect them. It's kind of like, because they're both basically gods. But the scene itself, like, was choreographed so well. The way that the comedy was integrated into the fight scene, and just like, the type of camera angles, the cinematography in that fight scene too, was just blew me away. And like you said earlier, Jeff Goldblum's character, another one of my favorite characters, especially when he's in there playing the piano.
That was the funniest thing.
Oh yeah,
You know that
Asperg. When you go back to Asperg.
Oh man.
Man, I could talk about this film for hours just because like I said, I've liked every part of it. From the acting. Okay, let me just talk about the music real fast, because the film,
I love the music.
Without the
So
music,
sick.
if they used the generic Marvel music that they've used up to this point, it would have been good. But because that music that they chose to use was like this 80s electronica video game music, and it just made the film so much better. It enhanced it by tenfold.
Yeah. The music was definitely one of the things that stuck out the most, besides like the on-point humor. The humor was so fucking good. Besides that, the music was extraordinarily good. Yeah, it was such a good movie. Which I would never really say about like a Marvel movie. Like I probably said it about like one or two movies that have ever come out from Marvel. I was like, "Oh, that's a good movie." But this one is actually a fucking awesome movie.
Yeah. So, I mean, once again, we're going to go back to our rating system. I would definitely give it a 10. 10 out of 10. I liked 100% of this movie. And if, like I said earlier, films are subjective. I know a lot of people are not going to like this movie because it changes the tone of the Marvel Universe. But personally, I think that the change is refreshing, because the Marvel movies were starting to get a little bit stale and seem like all the same movie. And this change of pace, the director they brought in was a perfect choice. The acting and the cast that they brought in was a perfect choice. And I kind of have a lot more hope for the future of the Marvel Universe because of it. So my rating, I would give Thor Ragnarok a 10 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I would change anything. Like again, I'd have to rewatch it and try and search for something that I'd want to change.
Yeah, it's like you have to physically search for something that you don't like about the movie. That's really rare with films.
And without doing that, I'd say I'd have to give it like a 10 out of 10. There's nothing really bad about it, and there's nothing I would change. So 10 out of 10.
Yeah, buddy.
Boom.
All right, guys. Obviously, our conclusion to this episode is yes, you should definitely watch Thor Ragnarok if you haven't already.
There's absolutely no reason to not watch this movie.
If you guys disagree, let us know. Send us an email, leave a comment down below. Our email address is openmindedepisodes@gmail.com. And if you want,
We'll see you next time. Or you'll see us next time.